Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a habit that is so simple, so ubiquitous, that we almost never think about it drinking water.
Right.
But not the ice-cold water that's kind of the default in the West. We are diving into the pretty surprising world of warm and hot water. It's an ancient practice that's suddenly getting a lot of modern attention.
It's so deceptively simple, isn't it? We've gone through a whole stack of sources, everything from, nutritional science papers to traditional medicinal texts.
And the mission here.
The mission is to pull out the actual concrete benefits. We are so used to thinking of water as this cold, refreshing thing. But these sources all suggest that just by switching the temperature, maybe aiming for that 120 to 140 degree Fahrenheit range, you can unlock this whole cascade of benefits. It impacts systems you just wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I think for most of us, hot water is it's a remedy, something you sip when you have a really bad cold, maybe with some lemon or honey.
A temporary fix.
Exactly, a temporary fix. But what we're seeing in the source material suggests it's not just palliative, it's systemic. It affects everything from your circulation to how well you sleep at night.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it. Let's explore how a really minor, very accessible temperature change can be a powerful boost for your internal systems. All right, let's start with digestion. This is probably the benefit you hear about the most. We're always told warm liquids help break down food better, but let's get specific. How does heat actually change the physical process of digestion, especially with fats?
Okay, so the crucial difference really comes down to the state of the fats and oils you're eating.
Like in cooking.
Exactly like in cooking. Think about it. You eat a meal that has fats in it, oil, dairy, whatever, and then you drink a glass of ice cold water. That cold temperature literally solidifies those fats. They get more viscous, and it basically creates a digestive traffic jam.
So instead of being fluid and easy to process, they start to congeal right there in your stomach.
Precisely. And that makes the job for your digestive enzymes so much harder. The body has to use extra energy just to reheat and break down those hardened globules of fat.
Yes.
But hot water, on the other hand, it acts like an emulsifier. It keeps the fats liquid, so they break down faster and move through the intestines much more smoothly.
It's like pouring hot water on a greasy pan.
That is the perfect analogy. It cleans it right away instead of letting the grease get cold and hard.
Okay, that makes the mechanism super clear.
Yeah.
But what about beyond just breaking things down? A lot of people deal with sluggishness, constipation, bloating.
Right.
How does hot water help get this system moving?
So this is where we need to talk about vasodilation.
Vasodilation, okay.
When you drink hot water, it has a systemic effect, but you really notice it in the digestive tract. It acts as a vasodilator, which just means it widens the blood vessels around your gut.
And what does widening them actually do for the muscles there?
Well, more blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients are getting delivered to the smooth muscles lining your intestines. And that improved flow helps encourage peristalsis.
Right, that's the wave-like muscle contraction that, pushes everything along.
Exactly. When the blood flow is optimal, those muscles contract more efficiently. And that leads to more regular bowel movements and, for many people, real relief from that sluggish, bloated feeling.
That's a really powerful mechanical explanation.
Yeah.
So let's move on to detoxification. That's a word that can be a bit of a buzzword.
It can.
The sources connect hot water to cleansing. But we're talking about a cup of water, not a full-on sauna session. Do the sources give any context for how much toxin flushing we can actually expect?
Yeah, and that's a fair question. The sources are clear. This isn't some magic bullet. It's really about leveraging your body's own natural functions.
Okay.
The main mechanism isn't the water binding to toxins. It's that drinking hot water slightly and very momentarily raises your core body temperature. And that little spike triggers a natural cooling response.
Perspiration. Sweating.
Exactly. So the detox is really just making the body's existing waste removal systems a little more efficient. Ah, I see. Sweating is a great way to flush out compounds, especially from your skin. So you can think of it less as a direct cleanse and more like you're helping the body's natural flushing system. A subtle internal steam cleaning.
Okay, so moving away from the internal plumbing, let's talk about a more immediate tangible relief. This is where it gets really interesting for me. Their respiratory and circulatory impacts. For anyone who suffers from, bad colds or seasonal allergies, what does this practice do right away?
The relief is immediate, and it's twofold. You get the internal warmth, of course, but you also get the steam.
Right, the steam.
And the steam rising from a hot cup of water is incredibly effective at loosening up all that thick mucus. It can provide almost instant relief for a stuffy nose or sinus pressure.
That feels intuitive, but is there any hard evidence? Did the sources compare hot drinks to, say, room temperature ones for a cold?
They did, actually. There was a study published in the journal Rhinology that looked at exactly this. They compared hot and cold beverages in people who had common cold symptoms.
And what did they find?
The results were pretty striking. The hot drinks gave instant and, importantly, lasting subjective relief from a whole bunch of symptoms. Runny nose, cough, that awful scratchy sore throat.
Wow.
It was relief that the cold drinks just couldn't provide.
So the heat mobilizes the mucus, which helps your body clear it out.
And at the same time, it's soothing the irritated tissue in your throat. It's a real double action.
Absolutely. Okay, let's pivot from the head to the whole system. The circulatory system, which is just foundational for our health. We mentioned vasodilation in the gut. What happens when you do that system-wide?
Right, so we're talking about vascular expansion across the entire body.
Expanding all the circulatory pathways.
Correct. When your arteries and veins expand, there's less resistance to blood flow. This is so fundamental because it means oxygen and nutrients get delivered everywhere more efficiently. The sources specifically mention this helps both muscle recovery and nerve function. If your muscles and nerves aren't getting enough oxygen because of poor circulation, they just can't work properly.
I thought the connection between that and pain relief was fascinating. We think of using a heat pad on the outside. How does drinking hot water help with things like aches and cramps from the inside?
It's a direct result of relaxing that tension. When blood flow is restricted, muscles cramp up and get tight.
Right.
By increasing that circulation system-wide, you help the blood carry away waste products and deliver that oxygen. This process helps relax those tense muscles, which can be a natural remedy for general body aches, tension headaches, and especially for menstrual cramps.
So you're fixing the underlying flow issue, not just masking the pain.
That's the idea. You're optimizing the system.
It really is like a full systems upgrade just from changing the temperature of your water. Okay, let's talk about two supportive roles now. Weight management and mental calm. And we should be really clear here. Hot water is not a magic pill for weight loss.
Absolutely not.
But how does it act as a valuable tool?
There are three main links here. The first is a small metabolic boost. Like we said, drinking hot water makes your body work a little to regulate its core temperature.
Right, so the body has to burn a few calories just to maintain that balance, that homeostasis.
Precisely. That small effort can encourage a slightly higher metabolic rate. Second, there's the satiety benefit, which is well established.
Feeling full.
Yes. If you drink a big glass of hot water before a meal, it physically takes up space in your stomach. And that can signal to your brain that you're partially full, which can lead to eating smaller portions without feeling deprived.
And the third point was the sources mentioned something about breaking down fat deposits. Is the heat actually melting fat, or is it more complicated?
It's more complex. It's not melting fat, no. It's more about circulatory and enzymatic support.
Okay.
The idea is that by improving digestion and enhancing circulation, the body's ability to mobilize stored energy, which includes fat deposits, is just better. When everything is flowing efficiently, your body is better equipped to actually use its stored resources for energy.
That really connects all the pieces. Okay, let's go beyond the physical and talk about mindset. The act of sipping a warm drink feels calming, but is there a physiological reason for that? How does that warmth affect the central nervous system?
It's a really simple and, well, beautiful feedback loop. Physically, when your body is properly hydrated and your circulation is smooth, which the hot water helps with, you tend to experience fewer of those low-grade aches and tensions. And when your body feels less physically stressed on that micro level, your mind tends to follow. You just feel less anxious.
And there's definitely a psychological piece too, right? Taking the time to slowly sip something forces you to pause.
Absolutely. It injects a moment of mindfulness into what's often a very rushed day, and that leads directly to the ultimate form of relaxation, sleep.
Ah, yes.
So many people find that having a warm mug of water plain, or maybe with a bit of lemon or ginger before bed, just helps them have a much more restful night. It soothes the nervous system and signals that it's time to wind down.
What makes all this so compelling is just how accessible it is. You don't need supplements or fancy equipment. So for anyone listening who wants to actually try this, let's give them the practical steps and, critically, the safety guidelines.
Yes. First thing, timing is key for maximum impact. The sources really recommend drinking a large mug first thing in the morning on an empty stomach.
Why then?
It gives your digestion and circulation an immediate kickstart before you introduce any food. You get that vasodilation effect going early.
Okay, and we absolutely have to talk about temperature safety. We're saying hot water, but there's a fine line between beneficial and dangerous.
This is non-negotiable. Never, ever drink boiling water. Water straight from the kettle can cause severe scalds in your mouth and, more seriously, your esophagus.
So what's the right temperature?
The sources give a very specific range. Comfortably warm, which is between 120 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 48 to 60 degrees Celsius.
That specific range is so important. So if you're using a kettle, you should probably let it sit for a minute or two after it clicks off.
Or get one of those variable temperature kettles if you want to be precise. That's the easiest way to be safe and consistent.
Right. And what about for people who just find plain hot water a bit unappealing?
Yeah, let's be honest, it's just water.
What can you add that won't negate the benefits?
Customization is everything for making a habit stick. If you want a little lift, a squeeze of fresh lemon adds vitamin C and a bright flavor.
Okay.
For something with a bit more depth, a slice of ginger is fantastic. It brings in anti-inflammatory properties that really complement the warmth.
Or even just a dash of cinnamon.
Exactly. The goal is to make it enjoyable enough that you actually do it every day. That's where you'll see the real systemic changes we've been talking about. #outro. So we've taken this habit that most people just dismiss, and we've mapped its impact across your body's major systems, from breaking down fats and improving digestion, to clearing congestion, to helping with pain relief through better circulation.
All the way to a metabolic boost in managing stress and sleep.
The sheer accessibility of it, just using temperature as a tool, that's its greatest strength.
It really is. So what does this all mean for you? It means you have one of the easiest, most accessible, and basically free ways to support your body's natural function. You're not starting some complicated diet or buying new equipment.
Not at all.
You're just leveraging basic thermodynamics inside your own body simply by swapping some of your cold water for warm water, aiming for that 120 to 140 degree range.
And as you start to try this, here's a final thought to take with you. If you can establish that specific, consistent temperature, that 120 to 140 degrees, as a reliable sensory ritual, especially when you first wake up, how might that consistent, soothing input affect your nervous system's ability to regulate its response to other kinds of stress you face throughout the rest of your demanding day? That's something for you to mull over or maybe explore on your own.